Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Vancouver Rain Draft to Glory franchise road here in MLB The Show 23. So I am kind of pre-recording this episode. It's only been like 3 hours since the last episode went up, so apologize if I didn't get to your comments because I know there will be more comments that come in, but I just really want to see what this team finishes off the season like, because this might be the year we make the playoffs for the first time. So I do have a lot of excitement to see if that is the case. So obviously I really want to just get to that and see if that is actually what happens, or if we're going to miss by a little bit, just miss out on a wild card spot, who knows. But I think this team is potentially going to be in the playoffs by the end of the year, just based on our record and how good some of our players have been. Most notably, I'd say Garth Howe has been incredible. He's on pace to win the Cy Young this year. Giancarlo Sixto, in terms of batting, has been absolutely insane with a 345 average. So him and Howe have been our main guys. But there's also some great players, obviously, like Ozzy, who's batting at 291. Guys like Ollie Gellman have stepped up this year, batting at 296. Bobby Hyde has been a great reliever with a 2.55 ERA and a 1.25 whip. Tons of strikeouts as well. And yeah, just in general, some guys have just really came out of nowhere. Sammy Gomez, for example, his rookie season technically has been absolutely incredible. Last year he played 9 games, was not good at all. This year he comes in and shows that he is ready for the majors. So I think this is going to be the year that we potentially make the playoffs. We just got to keep on this trend, and hopefully once we get into the playoffs, we can make some noise in the postseason, even though we've never been there before. But anyways, before we get into getting the rest of the season done, I do have one comment to go over because, like I said, I am recording this a few hours after you guys seen the last episode, and that is from Nick Buckerburns OC, who says, low-key like Randolph more, but I like Springer a ton too. So he said that he probably would have taken Randolph, but he does really like Springer as well. And I think Howard Springer is going to be a solid player for us for sure. Solid contact hitting. Obviously, we can make that even better eventually. But the vision, the discipline, and all that is good too. So he should be able to hit the ball decently. It's just more all about getting his arm, his accuracy, his fielding better, because he is a shortstop after all, and he doesn't have a secondary position. So to get this guy into our lineup eventually down the road, we definitely need him to be a little bit better on the defensive side of things, because that's what shortstops usually help out with. So I do like that guy quite a bit. And then we also got a decent amount of other good prospects. Some of them are a little bit older, so they might not make it till they're like 29 years old, but we did get good prospects like Fletcher Sanchez, who also looks like he's going to be a beast to potentially use as a shortstop behind Springer or even above him. So very excited for the future of this team still, and very excited to see what this team does the rest of this year. So there is that. And yeah, I think we are ready to sim to September call-ups, or actually take a look at, I guess, double and triple A. Well, actually, we'll do the September call-ups, I think, first, because yeah, both seasons don't end till September anyways. So we'll sim to September call-ups and see if we're able to win some more games and hopefully get ourselves into that playoff spot. This is a very important month, of course, as is next month. And then we only have 2 games in October before the playoffs would begin. So let's go to September call-ups, and I already know who exactly I'm going to be calling up for September call-ups. I will show you actually all 3 of who I'm going to call up, because might as well do that. So the first player I'm going to be calling up is Gustavo Dominguez. We didn't technically draft this guy, but he's been a great reliever, I think, in... has he been a starter or reliever? Reliever, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, reliever in AAA. So we're going to bring him in as a relief pitcher for us into the playoffs, if we get to the playoffs, that is. We are also going to be likely calling up, I'd say, probably Brad Thornton. It might be a little bit of a weird one, but he has really good power hitting, which is something we don't have in our lineup. So maybe that will be good for us down the stretch and getting more home runs added to our team. And finally, we are also going to be calling up a very good player, I'd say, in Josh Groves, who's going to get a big shot because of Bill Pineda's injury in the last episode. Bill Pineda's out for the rest of the year, so Josh Groves will come out because he has been phenomenal in AAA with almost a 300 batting average. So he will be coming up, and that way, if Ollie Gellman for some reason isn't doing well enough, Josh Groves could take over the reins at center field or even on left field or right field. But I'd like to get Josh Groves an opportunity. He has good contact hitting. He also kind of fits in with the speed, the stealing, the other stats. The power hitting is also not bad. Could use some work, but he's pretty much developing into being an all-around solid player. So obviously I'm going to give him an opportunity to play for us down the stretch and hopefully play some meaningful games for this team. So there is who I'm going to call up once we get to the September call-ups, which will be likely pretty soon. So let's take it a little bit slowly since we obviously do want to make the playoffs. So let's go to the 18th, so the halfway point of August, and see if we're able to keep on winning games, and hopefully most of our players stay healthy, and hopefully a lot of the players that are up there for potential awards continue to be on the trajectory to win those awards as well. That's a great start, 3-game winning streak. And oh no, okay, well we have to call up another pitcher, I guess, because Brian Morris has sustained an injury to his head, a head fracture for over 6 months. Oh my goodness. So he must have got like a ball like right in the face or something like that, but that is not good. We've had now 2 injuries this season for over 6 months, so let's stop the simulation here. That's why we got to go a little bit more slowly, because we are trying to make the playoffs. Yikes. Morris was doing good this year too, I think, right? Or did we recently just call him up? I think he was doing decent. Let me go to my injury list. Let's see, how was he doing? It's 2 players, though, out for that much term. Actually, 3 players, technically, with Montenegro in the system. But, yeah, Morris was doing good. Good ERA. WHIP is a little bit higher up, but still good. FIP is a little bit high, but not outrageous with this team in front of him. He had a winning record, too, so that's not good. That is not good at all. So I don't want to move Bobby Hyde over to starter because I know he's a good one. Well, maybe move Pulls over to starter. Yeah, we'll move Pulls maybe to starter. I don't like the hits and Ks in 9, but let's move Pulls over to starting role here. Move Sparbori up. And then Bobby Hyde will be a long reliever. And I might have to call somebody up from the system in replacement. Let's go to roster here. Let's see what we got for pitchers in the system that I could call up. Pablo's been much better in AAA. I might honestly want to call him up still. Even though Nick was telling me not to call him up, I might still call him up. Osuna's been good, but I would like him to get some more development. Let's go to our 40-man roster for a sec so we can kind of see. I might not still call up anybody just yet. Montero has been okay. Might be better as a reliever. Dominguez would be getting called up. I don't know, really. I won't call up anybody yet, but there's definitely going to be having to be more players getting called up after that injury, which really sucks. Hopefully we don't suffer any more of those, because I do not need injuries before we get our first chance at the playoffs. So let's go another week so we could get to the 18th and see if we can still win games, which we're still winning, which is good. Losing a decent amount too. There's another shutout win actually right there. Holy crap, Garth Howe. He's 15-4 now. He's got a 2.24 ERA and probably under a 1 WHIP still, which is absolutely nuts. We're still first place in our division, only by 4 games. How are we in terms of the entire league standings at the moment? Because last time I checked, we were still the best team in baseball. So at the moment, we have 70 wins. Any other 70-win teams? You have the Marlins at 70-52. And that is it. So we are technically the best team in baseball right now in terms of win percentage, because technically the Marlins have 1 more loss. But we are technically the best team in the MLB, which is crazy to say, considering we're in year 11. Okay, let's go to the end of the month. Hopefully we keep on winning games here. And wow, we're just doing insane. And let's auto on that, because that's just an injury stuff. There we go. 77-57 by September the 1st. Love to see it. First in contact and first in speed. I've built this team up, I think, pretty well in terms of at least these rankings, because the defense doesn't really matter too much if we're able to get a lot of offense going. And at the moment, we're top 10 in pitching, contact, speed, and just outside on power. We're the 6th ranked team in the MLB in that sense. And we have 77 wins now. And we are still the best team in the entire MLB. Hopefully it stays like that. It might change when we are calling up players for September call-ups. So let's do those September call-ups. We have to call up 3 players, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So let's call up those 3 players I was mentioning. So we'll start off by calling up. Actually, let's just go by each position, make it a little bit more easier to see them. So we'll call up We'll call up, where is he? Gustavo Dominguez, so he can be used as a reliever. So welcome aboard, Gustavo. And then we were going to go over to Brad Thornton for the power game. Yeah, that power would be really nice to have in our lineup. So we're going to move him to the MLB. And we are also going to call up none other than Josh Groves. His batting average actually dropped a lot since we last looked, but he is going to be coming up as well and getting a chance. And yeah, we need to focus, I guess, on Treble and AAA finishing up their seasons, but obviously our season's very important too at the moment. How close are we to clinching a playoff spot? Pretty close. Mariners have 26 games before they get eliminated. The other teams are all in like the teens, so we're almost close to eliminating these guys. The Mariners are the main problem, but if the Mariners become a problem, we'd be in the first wildcard spot. But there's also the Red Sox and the Twins we got to kind of worry about a little bit. So let's go to Double-A and get their season done. Actually, let's take a look at our MLB season while we're going to the end of Double-A, because the end of Double-A is right here on the 18th. So we'll go up to this game against San Diego, I guess. Yeah, we'll go to this game against San Diego. Come on, boys. Keep on winning. Aviators don't have enough players on their roster. Oh, yeah, I gotta guess. I'll just auto-adjust it on theirs. Even though it's a little bit risky. Let's just do that on theirs. Auto-fix there. Boom. Okay, we're losing a good chunk of games, but there's a major winning streak, and we are 86-63. We're 5 games up on the Mariners for the division lead still, as we're at the end of the Double-A season. Let's go. How are we in terms of the entire MLB now? Just behind the Pirates. So the Pirates are also up there, which is kind of cool because both us and the Pirates were drafting really high up in the early parts of the series, and now we're both 2 teams that potentially are the best 2 teams in baseball. So that's really cool. Let's take a look at some Double-A stats. See how good Double-A had it this year. So Johnny Almont, our rookie, was pretty solid, I'd say. ERA-wise, decent. WHIP is okay. Win-loss ratio is absolutely terrible. Probably didn't get enough support from the offense. 16 quality starts out of 28 games. That's a positive sign. Good stuff for Almont. He might be in AAA next season because he's 72 now. Francisco also was really good. Looks like high ERA, or no, not high ERA, low ERA, low WHIP. 27 games started, 10 quality starts. Yeah, good stuff from Ron Francisco. Michael Chu batted a 258. I think he might get a chance in AAA next year because he's almost a 70. Can play a lot of positions too, which would be great to have in our lineup at some stage. So nicely done there, Chu. Rodriguez, not really that great, but he doesn't really matter that much. We're only focused on our prospects. So Cologne, really good numbers, it looks like, as well. Looks like, again, our pitchers are doing really well. Yeah, 21 quality starts out of 28 games. Yeah, some good stuff from the pitchers in the system. Kobayashi was pretty solid. Not outrageously great, but he is a young 19-year-old, so he is not going to have necessarily the best season yet, but he will start to develop really well, I think, soon. Blake Smith, not very good. 27 games started, 9 quality starts, so 1 out of every 3 games, but that ERA, that WHIP is pretty high. So I wouldn't say a great season for Blake Smith, but he is a rookie too, so can't fault him too much. Flutie was a little bit better, but still not that great for Flutie either. Vincent Cho also kind of struggled, so a lot of younger kind of guys struggled, it looks like, and some of the guys that have been there for a few years have been pretty good. Cruz only a 230 average. At least he's developing, but still a 230 average. Not very great, that average. Suevez also a 233. He is also kind of developing. I don't know if I would say that's a great season for him. Probably not. Reader. Looks like I think the batters struggled and the pitchers did good. That's basically why we lost a lot of games, is because we just couldn't score enough. We couldn't score at all, pretty much. Reader had a 253. Gomez had a 219. Yeah, some of these stats aren't really that good for the batters, but at least the pitching's doing good. Lugo had a 256, so that's good by this team's standard. Ackerman didn't really play that much, but he was solid. And that was pretty much it. Also, Pugh, a 173. So there's Double A. Let's get Triple A seasons done, which they end in the next week. So we'll go to the MLB season again, so the end of this Detroit series. And let's see if we can win these games. We have 3 games coming up against Seattle. Those are big games to determine on who wins the division and who will finish in a wildcard spot. So we got to hopefully take at least 2 of the 3. And we do take 2 of the 3. That's great. Oh, man, Garth Howe's injured for a few days only. Whew, that gave me a heart attack. I thought he was going to be like injured for a long, long time. Imagine if that was the case. Strained tricep. He's only out for a few days, so that's good. Let's just go auto on that for a second. Like, imagine if that was a 6-month injury to Garth Howe at this stage. I would absolutely lose it. We're 90 and 66. We are definitely making it to the playoffs, I think. I think we probably already clinched because of that. But let me go to the pitching rotation for a second. Let's just swap. How could I add him to the injury list? 1 to 6 days. He might be back, honestly, before the next game. So, let's go to standings. Did we clinch a playoff spot yet? Yes, we did. We did clinch a playoff spot. Let's go. The first time the Vancouver Rain are going to be going to the playoffs. Let's go. Let's go. And we are the second team to hit 90 wins. Looks like the Pirates might be the best team in baseball, which is very exciting for me just because, like, I remember year 1. I think they drafted Magruder. We drafted, I think it was, Schneider, but I don't remember if we were, like, top 5 in the draft that year. But still, the 2 of these teams went from nothing to something. Also, the White Sox have 92 wins. I'm pretty sure they used to be drafting pretty high up as well. I know us and the Pirates for sure, but we're not necessarily the best team in the standings right now, but we are still going to be making it to the playoffs, which is the most important thing. Let's take a look at how good AAA players did this year. How good did the AAA guys do? So Pablo Silva, since getting sent down, was pretty good. That's why I was thinking of maybe calling him up for the playoffs. So I still leave it up to you guys if we should call him up or not for the next episode, because we do have these guys we could add to our playoff roster, I think. 7 quality starts out of how many games? 14. That's a little bit iffy, but the stat line looks better. Montero, yeah, I wouldn't call him up. Not very great. Osuna was pretty solid. He's up to a 77 at 19. This guy's developing rapidly quick. He should be in our rotation next season, which is great, because then we'll actually have a left-hander throw in some pitches instead of just all righties most of the time. Oliger was really good too. Kenny was great. He is a reliever though, so that's a little bit of a difference, but still, good reliever. Maybe ready for the MLB as a reliever, because the base on balls a 9, the home runs a 9, the hits per 9 is pretty solid. The K's a 9, a little bit low, but that doesn't matter too much as a reliever, I don't think. Let's see. Tim Soto, kind of okay. Murillo, kind of okay as well. Cora was really good. He didn't really pitch a lot, but he was still really good. Actually, he did pitch a decent chunk, I guess. 21 innings is a decent amount. Fletcher Hoffman was terrible, but then again, he is still a guy that we had in the MLB before. Maybe he's retiring soon, but he was not very good for the AAA level. Rangel was really good as a reliever. I like to see that. He didn't actually play that long. He needs to get a little bit more playing time. Buster Cross was good. Maybe he gets a better chance next year of being back. Maybe not, because he is regressing. Kellenberger was good. William Halpern was pretty good. Pretty good, actually, for William Halpern. That might be his best season yet. Yeah, he's starting to develop that contact hitting quite a bit. I like that. Pete Tavares, not great. Not great for Pete. Pena was solid. I believe they were using him as a closer down there, so that's probably why. Or maybe it was Ponce that was being used as a closer. I can't remember exactly. Todd Davies didn't really bat that much, but he was solid in a short span. Ponce, yeah, was terrible. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's not good. He is a really low potential player. He used to be D potential, but I guess we got him back up to a C potential at some point. Spencer Ono, not great. Segura was okay, actually, really good. Yeah, 1 home run and 6 RBIs. Didn't have a lot of at-bats, but that's his best season yet. He's not going to develop, but still. Castellano was not great. And Torres was terrible. I don't know why he was in triple. It must have got auto-adjusted him up to triple when I went to auto-adjust roster or something like that. So there's all that. Now we got to get the rest of this MLB season done. We got 3 games against the Twins and 3 games against the Angels. So 6 games left. We are very close to clinching that divisional spot instead of a wild card game. We basically got to win at least half of our games remaining. And Garth Howe is kind of injured, so I hope that he's back and healthy for these games, which he is not yet, but hopefully he is soon, because I do not need him getting injured. He doesn't play for quite a few days, so that's actually a good thing. Yeah, he doesn't play for 5 days, so he should be fully healthy by then, based on his ETA. Let's go through this series with the Twins. 3 games. We lose the first one. Garth Howe is back. Let's go place on bench for a second, and we'll put him into a starting role if he's not already, which he already is. Let's go through these 3 games. Come on, boys. We lose 2 of them, win 1. Did we clinch the division? We did not. We are 1 game away from winning that division, though. If the Mariners lose a game and we win 1 game, or the Mariners lose in general, we win the division, which would be massive. Come on, boys. Please win 1 game. And we do win 8-2, and we should have clinched our division, I think. Yes, we did. We have clinched the AL West with the win there. They have 4 games up on the Mariners. Mariners will be in the wild card. 3 teams are all tied in the wild card right now. Wait, they all clinched a wild card. How does 3 teams clinch the wild card? What happens with that? Because all 3 of them, it says clinched wild card. Do they still have games to play, though? They probably do. That's an interesting thing. Let's get through these last 2 games. A loss and a win to end the season. We have made the playoffs, and we will be taking on the Minnesota Twins in the, where is it? Let me see this. In the, oh, it's the AL wildcard. We are in the wildcard still. Yeah, it is a wildcard spot still. Damn it. Why are we in a wildcard? I guess we weren't the best team in the entire AL, right? Or one of the best 2 teams in the entire AL. We won our division. Let me take a look at the other AL parts. So the Blue Jays were better than us. Or, wait. Blue Jays were as good as us. White Sox were better by a long shot. Jeez, the White Sox are scary. 98 wins. I don't know why we play in a wild card game, but oh well. I guess maybe it's a little bit different than it used to be. I don't know. Maybe my brain is just completely confused for no reason. But we've made the playoffs, and that's what matters. So yeah, we're going to be taking on the Twins. Winner will be facing off against Toronto. Oh, it's the seeding. Yeah, it's the seeding because 1 and 2 seeded teams. Since there was 2 teams above us. If we would have finished above the Blue Jays, we would have been in the ALDS. But they must have had a little bit more than us in something, right? We had the same record, but 744 runs scored. We scored more runs than them. They let up. They allowed less runs. That must be it. That might be the only difference. Wow, okay. So we made the playoffs. Let's take a look at our player stats for the season, our team stats. We'll take a look at the league leaders, the awards, and also what what the Twins are looking like. I really hope we can get out of the wild card, though. We have all 3 of those games on home field, too, I'm pretty sure, which is great. So at least we have some advantage there, hopefully. Let's take a look at these player stats. Or actually, let's start off with standing stuff because I want to see how good we were in runs scored and stuff. So we went 93 and 69, scored 834 runs. We've allowed 682. So we were worse defensively than the Mariners in our division, but we were the best offensive team in our division. 32 and 20 against our division, 45 and 36 against teams on our home field, 48 and 33 on the road, 42 and 25 during the daytime, and 54 and 44 on nighttime. Pretty good. So yeah, that's really nice. 834 runs scored. Is that the best in the entire league? It might honestly be. I'm curious to see that when we look through the actual statistics. So let's look at player stats here and see who did what. We'll go through each position. So starting off with, actually, let's go to our hitters first and our pitchers. Bill O'Donnell. Great season for Bill. Great season for Bill. He's really proving himself now. He is signed for only one more season after this, but I'm kind of glad that he is signed for that season because I think he'd demand a lot of money this offseason as well. But the Canadian with 8 home runs, which is not a career high. A career high in RBIs, a 307 average is great. The OPS is great. What a year for Mr. Bill O'Donnell. We then head over to center fielders. Ollie Gellman was batting a 280. 12 home runs, 81 RBIs, which is a career high in every category except for home runs, I think. Yeah, pretty much every category except for home runs. There's also a lot of doubles, 46 doubles this year for him. And he stole 22 bases, which is not a career high, but still. Great year for Ollie. Great year. What was his OPS looking like? 794. So a little bit worse than Bill, but still good stuff from the outfielders so far. Pineda before his injury obviously was doing solid, not outrageously great, but he had a 242 average, 12 home runs, 49 RBIs. He'll be back in 4 to 5 months, so we won't see him till start of spring training next year, but hopefully we could maybe win this guy a World Series, and maybe he could watch from the press box. So there's that. How did Josh Groves do with us? Not great. Not great at all, actually. A little bit underwhelming, but he is getting development, and he might be a main roster player next season. He'll probably be the type of guy that would take over for Ollie Gellman if Ollie leaves this offseason. And then we get into our left fielders. Gary Steiner, not bad. Actually, a really good season for Gary. I'm kind of glad I locked him up a little bit. 19 home runs, 89 RBIs, and a 295 batting average. Really good season for him. He's been getting better ever since that 223 season. Yeah. Much better home run wise. RBI's a little bit lower than last year, but he's been an RBI machine. He's been an RBI machine. Very impressed with our outfielders. Gary Steiner definitely did a good job considering we moved Sixto from left field to to catcher. And yeah, Steiner did a really good job. So I like that a lot. We then head to our infielders. Shortstop George Pinheiro. Not bad. The average is definitely a little bit low, but the 19 home runs and 82 RBIs is nice. A lot of guys in the 80 RBI range, which is awesome to see. Really awesome to see. Considering where we started with this team 11 years ago. Or 11 seasons ago, I should say. Because 11 years ago makes me seem like I've been doing this series for 11 years. But yeah, he's been a really good RBI guy. Average has definitely dropped off a lot since the 276. But OPS has been relatively the same the entire time. So not too bad from Pinheiro. And then Ray McMahon off the bench. Not bad. 4 home runs, 20 RBIs, a 261 average. There's a good chance Ray McMahon might get some more time next year. Yeah, I like that. Good stuff from Ray. We then head into the third base category. Jeff Pipp, 15 home runs, 70 RBIs. So a little bit lower RBIs than some of the other guys on the team, but still. Another guy in the high RBI range. His overall is dropping, which is very concerning. This is why we needed to draft more third basemen. And why we needed maybe Ned Thompson. Imagine if we would have drafted Ned Thompson last year. How good this team would have been. Like, we made the playoffs without him, but still, imagine if we had him. That'd be insane. Steve Schneider, 21 home runs, 72 RBIs. He's kind of looking to get paid, I think, because his contract is up, but really good season from him. His best home run count in quite a while, 6 seasons. Average dropped off a little bit since we last looked, but the average was still decent enough. OPS is still good. Yeah, good season from Steve. Obviously, he hasn't really reached that potential we thought he was when we drafted him, but still. Anton Trevino, yeah, definitely a little bit of a down year for Trevino. 16 home runs, which is more than last year, more RBIs than last year, but that average dropped from a 291 to a 249. Still a good year for him, I'd say. He is developing into being a really good overall player, and we do have him locked up long term now. So hopefully he kind of has a better year next year in terms of that average. And Pedro Carrillo off the bench has been a solid guy. This is why I brought him in, to be a solid bench player. He was definitely an upgrade over Fletcher Hoffman. And 7 home runs, 19 RBIs. Off the bench is pretty solid. No problems with that. We didn't hit the first base, and Ozzy doing what Ozzy does. Only a 287 average, which is a little bit lower than his normal, but still 19 home runs, 89 RBIs. Yeah, he's definitely dropping off a little bit on the RBIs, but it's because other guys are driving in runs too, not just him. It's like a whole team effort now. It's not just a one-man show. But still, another good year for Ozzy. I really hope we could lock this guy up once his contract ends, which ends at the end of next season, I think. So that's going to be a very expensive one, potentially. We then head to catchers. Giancarlo Sixto. What in a season for Sixto. 41 home runs, which is a franchise record. 126 RBIs and a 338 average, as well as 17 steals. This is exactly why I locked up the guy to that cost. Because if I didn't lock up this guy, man, he's going to be making only 19.9 in his last season. He's making still a lot right now, but he's worth it at this point. So, like, that contact hitting is almost max in both handedness. The power is getting much better. Sixto is a shit-toning beast. Wow. Like, look at this. 16 home runs to 30 to 41. RBI is 79 to 98 to 126. The average, 294 now to a 338. OPS over 1. Holy crap. This guy is raking. This guy is raking. What a year for Sixto. And then Brad Thornton, since calling him up, had some home runs off the bench. That's exactly what I was wanting from him. I don't really care about the average with him. It's more about bringing in some power game to the bench. So, 3 home runs and 6 RBIs and 27 at-bats. I'll take it. Now the interesting thing is the pitchers. Dennis Lake, not great ERA-wise, but maybe he had a better FIP. Yeah, that's a really high ERA for a closer. But the FIP was good, so I don't really know what to make of Dennis Lake this year. Obviously, he's going to be making less and less each year as well. Luis Guzman, pretty solid through 7 innings. Still like to get this guy a little bit more playing time next season, but solid numbers. And Ken Robert was great. That whip is really good. The ERA is really good. All 3 of these closers / setup guys, really good, I'd say. Dennis Lake, I'm a little bit weary about because of the ERA, but still good season, I'd say. Birch as a reliever, really good. Really good stuff from Jack. Hopefully he could be a good reliever in the playoffs if we have to turn to him. Todd Goss, what was his stats looking like? Not really sold on Todd Goss. Yeah, Todd Goss is probably the worst of these relief pitcher guys. And then finally, Doug Rubel, pretty good. Pretty good. Did lose both games that technically he was accounted for, but still. Still not too bad from the relievers except for Goss. And then the starting pitchers. Garth Howell with his best season of his career. 19-6 record with a 2.99 ERA. So that ERA definitely climbed up a lot. The whip went over 1, but he might have won a Cy Young. Definitely the best year of Garth Howell's career, and I hope that he has more years like this because there is a chance he might randomly start to decline in overall soon. That FIP is nasty. He's going to be making less and less each year. He is our ace for sure going into the playoffs. And Sammy Gomez, what a story he was this year. 15-6, a 3.25 ERA is good. 1.25 WHIP. I can barely even talk. Really good season. 21 quality starts for Sammy Gomez. That is, like, if he was actually considered a rookie this year, he probably would have won the Rookie of the Year. Then we make our way to Gary McAllister, 14-10. He is dropping off a little bit, which is not great. ERA better than last year. WHIP is the exact same. FIP is worse. And not a great season for Gary. It's not terrible. He's not losing a shit ton like he used to, but he's kind of a weird player. Like, he plays a lot of long games, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Sparbori as well. Not super sold on some of these other guys. 31 games started. 14 quality starts is okay for a 23-year-old. Yeah, it's okay. I'd say probably we'll be relying heavily on these 2 guys to get us to win games in the playoffs. The other ones, it's kind of up in the air. Bobby Hyde was really good as a reliever. He's going to be our guy we turn to a lot, probably. Likely. Brian Morris, before his injury, was doing really well, but unfortunately he's out with that head fracture. That really sucks, because we could definitely used him in the playoffs as like a reliever, and I think he was actually being as starting pitcher. So, but still, I would have liked to have had him, because it would be nice to have 3 good pitchers and not only 2 potentially. Darren Pulls, and not super sold on his stats. And Pablo Silva was for some reason called back up again. Or actually, no, he wasn't called back up again. I just think it's showing him because he played earlier. I don't think he got called back up again. So there is that. There is our player stats. Let me go to positional players first. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we were relying heavily on Sixto in terms of home runs, but there is a good amount of depth in terms of the home run hits. Like a lot of 19 hits, home runs. The RBI wise, though, this is where it's great. Like, look at this. Sixto a shit ton. And a bunch of guys in the 70 to 80 range. A couple guys lower than that, but that is nice. And also a lot of stolen bases. And OPS is usually pretty good for the team most part. Everybody's above 700 for the most part, except for Pip, Groves, and McMahon. Groves and McMahon being kind of bench options. I like that. Let me actually go to the WAR as well for the pitchers, or not the WAR, the FIP in the WAR. I want to take a look at this. Let's see. Yeah, Morris was a little bit bad, not too much. Rubel was a little bit. I'd say the ones that were really bad though was Goss and Silva for sure. Those 2 guys definitely were bad. The other guys are kind of in an average range. We got to take into account like the quality of the league and all that. So let's take a look at the league leaders and the award winners. So actually, let's go to team stats first. Team rankings. I want to take a look at this first. In terms of batting average, the White Sox were the best team. We were the 6th best team in batting average with a 274. At-bats, we had the most at-bats in the league. We were the 2nd best offensive team, only behind the Padres. And the Padres have been to like 3 straight World Series, I think, or 3 of last 4, something like that. So that's pretty cool. Then we head to hits. We were the 4th best team in hits, behind the Yankees, Rays, and White Sox. 1st in doubles by 16. Damn. We were 3rd in triples, only 3 behind the Pirates and 1 behind the Nationals. Home run wise, this is where we usually struggle. We are 14th in home runs, tied for it with the Diamondbacks and Texas. RBI wise, we're number 2, only 1 behind the Padres. We are 1st in stolen bases by 19. We are 1st in stolen base percentage, the only team above 80%, which is nice. Based on balls, we drew the most walks. There's a lot of positives for sure with this team. I'm very excited about that. I bet you the ERA probably dropped off a lot though, because it doesn't seem as good as it used to be. So that might be a little bit of a problem going forward. Let's see, ERA wise, we finished 6th best. Probably because of Howe and Gomez mostly, but still, we were a top 10 team in ERA. We had 8 complete games. We were tied for 3rd in shutouts with 14. Pretty good. Pretty good all around, I'd say. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what this team does in playoffs. We were the 4th best team in the entire MLB. We were actually tied for 3rd with 2 other teams, that being Miami and also the Blue Jays. The Pirates were above us, though, and the White Sox were above us by a long shot. So the White Sox are probably the team to beat based on that. Let's take a look at those league leaders now and award winners. So Sammy Gomez led the league in shutouts with 4. He also led in complete games with 4. Garth Howell led in innings pitched with 217, as well as with a 1.05 whip. He led that. He also led in WAR with a 6.1. And then we head over to the batting related ones. Sixto led in batting average with a 338. He also led in hits with 212. Also led in runs with 114. Slugging percentage with a 627. And on base percentage with a 1.053. Wow. And yeah, look at that. He just finishes above Wander Franco in batting average. I'm probably going to skim through this a little bit more, but yeah, what a year for this team. 3 guys in the top 10, it looks like, in doubles, which is great. We're getting a lot of extra base hits. 2 guys up there in the top 10 in triples. Giancarlo Sixto was second in home runs because Nolan Gorman's insane. RBI-wise, Sixto was number 1, just above Gorman by 2. Yeah, Sixto pretty much stole the show, and then a lot of guys stealing bases and speed on the base paths. I like that. Gonna make it for interesting dynamic in the playoffs. And yeah, Sixto tied for the league lead in wins. I hope he got the Cy Young. I think he should have. But Patino might have stolen it from him because he got a better ERA, but the WAR also might make a difference here. Let's see. Sammy Gomez complete games, as we were learning about. Yeah, that Webb as well might give it to Howe, but yeah, him and Patino are probably the 2 guys up there for the Cy Young. But the pitching WAR, though, it looks like Patino's not even up there, so there's that. Let's take a look at these award winners, and I'm going to skim through this quickly because I don't want to see who wins the awards. I want to actually just go through it like this instead. I think I already saw who won awards anyways through that now. You guys probably did too if you paused the video, but Giancarlo Sixto does not win MVP this year. He falls just short to Nolan Gorman, who's now won it 3 straight years. That kind of sucks, but oh well. Garth Howe does win the Cy Young. So Garth Howe, our first player to win the Cy Young, and that might be the first of many. Maybe he wins a few more as well. Batting title goes to Sixto this year, so we got 2 big awards there. Love to see it. Anything else to note? Hank Aaron Award also going to Sixto, so there's 3 big awards. And then we get into the Gold Glove. Sixto gets 1. Anybody else? Jeff Pipp gets 1 for third base. Good job, Pipp. Pip, cheerio. In terms of the Silver Sluggers, obviously Sixto gets 1. Gardenius just missed out on 1. He had 1 2 in a row before that. Let's see. Anything else? Nothing else. So those are all our awards that we won this season. Now the final thing we do to wrap up this episode, I think, has to be looking at the roster for the Twins, right? Yeah, I think it does. Let's take a look at the Minnesota Twins. So we'll go to their team stats just to make it a little bit more... Actually, not their team stats. Let's go to the pitching rotation for us, and then we'll go over to their pitching rotation instead. So what is Minnesota looking like? Our first ever playoff opponent. Here is their pitching rotation, led by Agustin Quintana. 26-year-old pitcher. It was an 87. Had a really good season, I'd say, based on those. Yeah, really good season. A lot of right-handed pitchers as well for them, but there isn't really a lot of lefties in the MLB, I think. So he's their ace. They also got Ahmad Crowder. Another solid pitching, it looks like, in terms of ERA and all that. Blade Tidwell, not really that great. Joan Adon, solid. Doesn't pitch a lot, though, so we don't really know too much considering he didn't pitch a lot of games. And Gunnar Hoagland, not really good. So I think it's going to come down to whose bottom 3 pitchers are going to be better. At least in terms of the pitching-wise, I'd say. Because right now, these 2 pitchers are pretty good. Our top 2 pitchers are really good as well. But the rest of these 3, how do they compare against like McAllister, against Barbori? That's where it's going to be probably a bit of a difference. In terms of the bullpen, they got Levi Stout, who looks pretty good. They also got Charles York, really good. So they got a good bullpen, it looks like, in terms of numbers. Tommy Holland as well. Hernandez, Paul Beam, Lance Machado, and Michael Marrero. Yeah, their bullpen is better than ours, I'd say, in terms of at least some of these numbers. So that might also play a factor in terms of who wins the series. So if our bullpen could at least outperform theirs, we'd have a better shot. But a lot of their players had low ERAs in terms of the bullpen, so that's a little bit risky. Let's take a look at their batting lineup now, though. What is their batting lineup looking like compared to us? They have Sonny McGinnis. Sonny McGinnis, a left fielder who's got great contact hitting. Oof, that's not great. How did this guy bat during the season? He says he has not played a single game yet. Maybe we have to advance up to the playoffs first before they get rid of their playoff roster or get their playoff roster set up. Let me advance a few days or 1 day up so we can kind of see if it actually changes or not. Let's see, did it change at all? Because that was a little bit weird. No, it's still Sonny McGinnis. This guy's didn't play at all during the regular season. So, that's interesting. But when he did play last year, he was really good. 295 average. They also have Julio Ponce, 80 overall. I think we definitely have the higher overalls in terms of the batters. Like, a lot of their guys are 70, 80s. They have 190. We have a lot of studs, so I'm excited to see if we're able to win this series. I think we should be able to, but the next series is definitely going to be an interesting one because us and the Blue Jays had the same record if we get there. Ponce, solid numbers, good home runs, or solid home runs, good RBIs. Kind of just an average player, kind of similar to some of our other guys, but nothing special. O'Neal Cruz is definitely the guy we need to shut down, though. We know that he's already a good player. 34 home runs this year, 97 RBIs. Yeah, we definitely got to shut down O'Neal Cruz. Great average. He is the player to beat. He is the player to beat. And Kobe Mayo. How good is this guy? Not very good. Low batting average. Did have 21 home runs, so he does have a bit of pop in his game. Austin Martin, who is their DH. Former Blue Jays prospect, if I remember right. Pretty solid contact hitter. Looks like, yeah. Solid contact hitter. Jesus Sanchez. Or Jesus Sanchez? Probably Jesus. He had a really good year last year, but then fell off a lot this year. Interesting. Yeah, fell off a cliff this year. He is very old, too, at this point. So, I don't know how good he's going to be. Drew Waters. Yeah, they have a lot of veteran players. 309. Drew Waters is pretty good this year. And then a Harry Ford, who's a real player. I thought he was going to be a generated player. There's his stats. Ew, he's getting paid more money every year. Got a little bit of pop to his bat, too. Bobby Bradley. Yeah, a lot of their guys are really old, like 35 plus. I think we should be able to win this series based on a lot of this. Even Langeliers. Or Langeliers? I don't know how it's pronounced, but a lot of old guys on this team. Brian Sherman, 28 years old. Even if he's generated, he's still older too. I think we should be able to win this. Oh, okay, this guy's pretty good. This guy's got great contact. Adrian Figueroa. He's maybe more their starter. I don't know. Vaughn Grissom, 32 years old. Really good contact hitting. Yeah, they have some good contact hitters. I'll give them that. So there's their lineup. Let me go to quickly. I know this episode's going to be super long. Team rankings again. I want to see where they were ranked in terms. They got rid of it. Damn it. I didn't see where they were ranked in terms of some of these stuff now. Oh well. But let's see one last thing. Let's go to see how they did during the regular season. 87 and 75. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games going into the playoffs. 87 and 75, huh? And they're also the 24th team in contact, 8th in power. So they're better than us in power. We're better in contact, pitching. Better in defense, I think, too. Definitely better in speed, but they have got a lot of speed, too. So they're a good power speed team. We're a good contact, power, pitching, speed team. I think we should be able to win the series. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Vancouver Rain Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the AL wild card as we take on the Minnesota Twins in a 3-game series. Well, best 2 of 3. And I think we should be able to win this. Hopefully Garth Howe could play great in his playoff debut. And then I guess we'll go Gary. And then, yeah, Sammy Gomez could get maybe a deciding game if it is to go to Game 3. But let me know down below. And I'll see you guys next time.